Hey everyone. I was hoping I would never have to make a video like this, but here we are. Yes, I busted out a script for this video. That's how you know it's serious. Before getting into anything, I just want to clarify that we have all of our raw evidence for this in a Google Drive, which I will link in the description. This also includes an archive of the Discord channels the majority of our evidence came from, which can be accessed using the Discord History Tracker application, also linked in the description. If you do end up looking at that, I'll first warn there are many slurs, and I'll also mention most screenshots come from these two chats. I included this for full transparency so you can see everything for yourself to confirm nothing is out of context or edited. I also will mention that for any screenshots shown on screen, I'd recommend pausing to read them. There's a fair bit of stuff to get through, so I can't linger on each screenshot for too long. One last disclaimer. Please don't harass anyone mentioned in this video. Even if their behavior is gross, harassment is never warranted. If you don't know what the Maximo list is, otherwise known as the MML, it's a passion project made by some friends and me that is heavily inspired by the Geometry Dash Demons list. It simply ranks the hardest modes from FNAF games and has grown a decent sized community. Just to clarify, we've had several people make their own versions of the MML, and we fully support this, even including it on the community tab of our site. We are speaking out about the FCL because of their harsh intentions and the group of people running it, not because it'll be an MML copy. So, what is FCL? It stands for the FNAF Challenge List and is essentially, as I already said, a copy of the MML. Several people are behind this project, including but not limited to TheBones5, Windows, Tyson Z, and several more. They are making the FCL because they don't like MML. They don't like its community, staff, or how it's ran. Again, we are fine with this, and in this case, we encourage them to make their own list. The problem here, however, is the fact that they intend on throwing allegations at us to deplatform the MML and give more light to the FCL. I want to first dispute the allegations that we know they intend to throw at us before getting into the toxic environment within the FCL. Their main argument is that we have trans bias. To try and prove this point, one of their members, Tyson, pretended to be transgender themselves, going under the alias Allie. He later rejoined MML, and the other FCL members started a scene with him to get the attention of the staff. Basically, he mentioned he preferred being called Allie. Immediately, his FCL friends started calling him Tyson instead. Tyson even insisted to one member he has repeatedly told him he preferred Allie. To us, this came across as transphobic. The FCL members in private even realized that their plan came across as transphobic, but this didn't stop them from believing it was a success. They may also argue Tyson's unblacklist was a result of him being trans. If we look at the staff chats where the discussion occurred, we'll see the main advocate was Windows, who is a member of FCL. Everyone else was against it or iffy about it, and Windows was the only one that persisted on the topic. We never did unblacklist Tyson in the end, and eventually decided a year is a suitable amount of time to request to be unblacklisted, which Tyson has not met yet anyways. Windows has recently also pretended to be trans to try and prove trans bias within the community. It's worth mentioning that people were only nice to Tyson because he was showing improvements as a person, not because he was trans. Windows made no efforts to change as a person when he decided to pretend to be trans. He was still incredibly negative, he vandalized MML, and he's refused to cooperate with us whatsoever, instead talking behind our backs about how stupid we are. Due to this behavior, we are cutting ties with Windows as he's caused nothing but drama and issues. They also believe the recent promotion of Ruby to admin was another case of trans bias. We decided to promote Ruby to admin not because she is trans, but because she has been a big help to the list ever since its creation, has been there ever since the start of the list, and because she knows best how to work with Google's sites, something that we are being forced to use again due to our developer Windows going behind our backs to support FCL. It's also worth mentioning how Windows has essentially been holding the site hostage, as every time we have asked him to share it, he has refused to do so. Part of his reasoning is he's insecure about his code. Part of his reasoning is he's the one that put in all the work, which if he had shared the site in the first place, we would have been more than happy to help. And his other reason is he's too passionate about it. A blatant lie, given he's a part of the group trying to essentially cancel us. The other allegation they plan to throw at us is that of a grooming incident between two members. They plan to accuse Perrin of grooming one of their members, Jex, into being trans. This has already been disproven in the past, but just to offer a defense, we asked Perrin if she had anything, in which case she provided this video.
Here. This is our old DMs. Here's one of them. This is the main message about it. This is the main part about it. I don't know if I can show some other ones, but we go down here. They they haven't started believing it until way later.
As you saw, Jex admitted to being trans and says Perrin had no part in that decision. She helped him to come out, she didn't groom him into being trans. If they throw any other allegations at us apart from that, we have no means of knowing due to our leaker losing access to the chats. But hopefully this is enough to show whatever allegations they do throw are pretty flawed. Now then, let's get to FCL itself. As you can probably tell by now from the screenshots, TheBones5 is very involved in this entire thing. He is the one that started FCL, and he is the one orchestrating the plan to try and cancel us, though he didn't want that part to be known. He's hoping for FCL to replace MML to, what I believe, further increase his influence. A common theme with Bones is ignorance. He doesn't respond to messages with thought or even intake them with much thought, as he prefers to stick to what he believes is right. A good example is when Nephrite reached out to Bones regarding the poor moderation in his server. She brought up valid points, such as how many toxic members are allowed within the community, yet he chooses to stick to only one topic that wasn't even her main argument, that being the free talk. For context, his community loves to call challenges free, something that quickly got stale, and for some reason he chooses to stick on that topic instead of all the other points Nephrite had to say about his poorly moderated server. Another case of his ignorance is him responding to Nephrite once again complaining about the poor state of his server with He's the GOAT. Since it's hard to see, he's calling himself the GOAT to the following statements: giving bigots, transphobes, and assholes VIP roles, endorsing toxic behavior and bigotry in private chats, just being an asshole in general, and is egotistical. Just for some context with the VIP roles and private chats. Within his server, he used to have a channel called Duke of the Mutts. Anyone with a Duke role could access this chat, in which case a lot of the generally more toxic members will be given said role. This channel was sadly archived before we could archive it ourselves, but just to recount an experience of mine I had there that caused me to leave. Pam was sharing in the chat about how she was mentally unwell, and the constant MML slander in the Duke chat was not helping her. She's already been dealing with suicidal thoughts, and the constant negativity wasn't helping her mindset. As she was venting, the rest of the Dukes were spamming gifts and continuing the slander, essentially ignoring her, and even Bones himself chimed in to share one gif instead of helping the situation. While on the topic of his Discord server, it's worth mentioning why his server even exists. You would think someone would make a community server to interact with their community, but in Bones' case, he only cares about boosting his video's performance. That's right, Bones5 viewers, he only cares about your sweet, sweet YouTube click. Bones is also called the MML staff mentally unstable, referring to us as R-words. He indirectly promoted a raid of MML, telling his members to run up a band speedrun. Bones is also so touched by Tyson's act of pretending to be trans, he may just even do it himself. Just to make it clear as to why I specifically point out Bones, it's because he's the one organizing FCL. He's the one that planned to deplatform MML and pretend he has no part in it, knowing his popular influence would be enough to take control. He's the one that allowed all the toxicity within these FCL chats, and frankly, it just saddens me to see the disrespect he has chosen to show us. A lot of us have shown you nothing but respect ever since you first started Max Modes, and you chose to attack the very thing, the very people, that helped you gain a platform in the first place. Before getting into the FCL chats, I want to go in detail about one involved member that is the worst of them all, Mulan. I'll first preface that his name won't appear in the channel archive due to him deleting his account, but Sakurina confirms he was involved, and you can find a deleted user when filtering by user. Just to verify his account is deleted, I'll show a screenshot of a message of his before and after he deleted his account. Also unfortunately, Tyson removed Sakurina's access to the old FCL chats, so we can't get screenshots of his chats, but given how much he has shared already, I believe Sakurina's word is trustworthy. Alright, time to explain Bulan. I'll share details that we don't have screenshot proof of first. Bulan used to have a server called Channel 4. The server tailored a similar community to that of FCL, being run by toxic members that love to say slurs. One particular incident is of interest though, being something that happened in a VC there. Bulan and some others were in a call, one of them screen sharing. I don't have the full details, but somehow their screen share eventually showed child porn. It was quickly turned off, but what happened happened. Bulan was informed several times the server and everyone in it is prone to account suspension due to this, eventually causing him to delete the server. Even after this concerning incident, Bulan decided it would be funny as an April Fool's joke to write a long paragraph confessing his love for children. It was as weird as it sounds, trust me. Unfortunately, this message was deleted, but it's not the only time he's joked about the subject. He's also said several other disgusting things on topics regarding rape, incest, and necrophilia. I warned you, this guy was gross. Even just mentioning the topics grosses me out, let alone seeing what Bulan has to say regarding them. Bulan also doesn't care about others' mental health. For some context, Cameron, a previous MML director, has been struggling with mental health issues for a while, and recently went to a mental hospital to try and get better. She's been inactive from Discord to take care of her mental health, which I hope has been going well for her. Despite that, Bulan decides to joke that she should go back to the ward and hang herself, having no care for her situation. I'll also add how the FCL members have recently joked about this themselves, showing they have the same lack of respect. Bulan is also a fan of hating on Nephrite, something that you'll see is a common interest among these people. At one point, Bulan made a server called Costumes Clan, being an obvious reference to the KKK. If that wasn't enough, he even made an anthem for the server and shared KKK-related media to really iron in what the server represented. Bulan has also made several songs about hating on Nephrite. If you're curious to listen, the audio files are within the Bulan folder of the evidence files, but essentially these songs detailed how he would torture and kill Nephrite. In these screenshots is when we'll also start to see Bones involved with Bulan. Bones has talked to Bulan several times about how he would love to disassociate from MML, yet he chooses to continue talking about it. One of his favorite topics, after all, is hating on the MML. If he had any sense of maturity, he would have been able to fully separate from it, but instead, here we are having some dumb drama. Here's one more case of Bones going to Bulan, showing him joking about the matter of him being associated with Bulan. Bones is still affiliated with Bulan as of today. A comment of his appearing on one of Bulan's videos on February 2nd, a few days prior to Bulan deleting his channel. We can also see on their FCL spreadsheet that we found linked in their archives that Bulan has left his mark on the right hand side. Their FCL planning server is a pool of toxicity and slurs. When I say slurs, I mean a lot of slurs. Of course, that part was also not supposed to be known, but luckily our leaker archived the chats for us before they could delete them. Alongside the FCL planning server, there's also a secret FCL channel within the MML Spanish server. I'd like to mention the Spanish MML server is an unofficial server made by the Spanish community. It was not made by us, nor is it even publicly accessible. Tyson made this chat within the Spanish server due to not wanting certain members to be allowed in the actual FCL planning server. I think it's also worth pointing out that Bones fully allowed the slurs and toxic behavior in these chats. He didn't care when people used them, and he seems to more or less now understand why people care about slurs so much in general. I'm sure if he were to ask the minority these slurs are being targeted to, he'd get a pretty good answer, but instead he chooses to play ignorant. Unfortunately, some MML staff members are involved with FCL, which we did not know of until everything was leaked to us. They would sometimes chair about changes to MML because of this, hoping for the negative result so FCL has higher appeal. Our site developer, Windows, was the main problematic member. Within the secret FCL chats, he has joked about deleting the site, and he has also indirectly told other FCL members to try and purposely take down the site. Within the MML chats, he has also stirred up countless arguments, causing several staff members to leave due to his negativity. However, all of the FCL members had one target in common: Nephrite. For whatever reason, Nephrite has been the target of these people long before the existence of FCL. To try to get to her, they created this Nephrite cycle image, detailing behavior she has exhibited in the past. One of their members, Sick, who may have mentioned was banned from MML already when he did this, created an alt named Ricky and shared this image, pinning Nephrite alongside sending several hostile messages. Bones was also shown to have sent this image in these chats, showing he also supported this behavior. I'll include Nephrite's response to this image because frankly, most of this cycle is ridiculous. When Nephrite didn't leave from that, Windows tried to start drama with her himself. He and another member were joking about death threats with each other in MML, which another admin saw and told them to stop. This isn't the first time he's done this before, and it's likely why he did it, as he knew it would gain our attention while in chat. When told to stop, he sent an image of Nephrite doing the same, asking if we cared about that then. Instantly, all admins agreed that no, we didn't support that behavior, and we went to the chat when that happened to see that none of us were around at the time, meaning we had no means of knowing this was said. Despite that, Windows argued this was another case of bias, while another admin tried persisting we had no means of knowing it was said. I informed the related parties not to do that, but this finally resulted in Nephrite leaving the server, something Windows was very proud to have caused. Even once Nephrite left the community, the FCL members continued harassing Nephrite behind her back. Another way they made fun of her, along with several other people, was by sharing pictures of their faces and finding a way to fat shame them, if possible. First, I want to say that if the face is uncensored, I was given permission by the person to leave it that way. Bones outlining Nephrite's face is meant to insinuate that she's fat, which is supported by Windows calling her a level 500 chonker. With a leaked picture of Noelle's face, we can see Bones try to argue that her covering her jawlines means she's probably trying to hide fat. In the last case, no fat shaming was mentioned thankfully, but still gross to see how willing these people are to share and make fun of these people. It's also strange how all 3 faces that were leaked were of trans people. Seems like these guys are the one with trans bias instead. Here's one last example of them fat shaming Nephrite, along with poking some fun at her. Also related, several transphobic remarks are said in the server. We can see Bones make fun of Noelle's voice, some others make fun of the trans people in the MML community, alongside them again bringing up that being trans somehow gives them advantage in the community, which simply isn't true. Alright, now that I've detailed what happens in the FCL chat, being toxicity, slurs, harassment, and transphobia, I'll go into specifics about 2 more members. Another person involved is Jex. He is a consistently toxic member of the community, often never being positive in conversation. One thing he has done recently is edit screenshots of people to make it appear they said things they didn't, otherwise known as defamation. Here's one such image appearing at the end of a game he made for another FCL involved member, Techie. Jex also used the comment feature of the MML submission tab to send vulgar statements to us. The first time, he sent the N-word, and the second time, he sent a sexual remark saying he beats it to Noelle's profile picture. If you are unaware, Noelle is a staff member for MML. After this, we chose to blacklist Jex due to not wanting to see any more vulgar comments. Unsurprisingly, his FCL friends started a hashtag, being hashtag unblacklistjex. One such person being Techie, the person he made the game mentioned earlier for. Bones is also aware of Jex's behavior, but he doesn't care. He doesn't even have him banned from his own server, even after someone brought up to him another case of Jex editing screenshots of people saying the N-word. Another member in FCL is Spinship, a highly toxic and transphobic individual. He only has 2 messages in FCL however, so due to his low involvement, I won't go into too much detail. I'll end this off by saying all of the MML founders, being those who created the MML, are not in support of this whatsoever. Even though some founders have their gripes with MML, myself included, whether it be the community or the way the list is managed now, we would be unhappier if the list was taken over by the FCL members. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to us. It means a lot as we've been very stressed about this ever since it was first leaked to us. Thank you again to Sakurina for reaching out to us. This wouldn't have been possible without you. I hope you all have a fantastic day.